Activities. All content provided by this channel is meant only for educational purpose only.
I love what Mikey does. Sometimes I'm like, yo, you over the edge, TMZ with it. But
the boy gonna do you something nasty.
I hate to say it, more times than not, he get the results he wants.
Right, and to be honest with you, I honestly don't think it's over. Honestly, I think exactly what this state needs. We've always needed a platform where we can call out the nonsense,
The repercussions.
and give people the props that they deserve, and call out the people who are full of it. And honestly, I think that more and more people are starting to utilize Mike's platform for that. And honestly, I know a lot of folks. A lot of people talk to me, "Oh, Emerson's like you're on there and you talk this and you talk that," and I'm like, "Listen," I said, name one thing that he's been wrong about.
Freebeats.io.
And then this silence.
But boy,
right,
because they know. Because honestly, like that stuff that's being exposed, they're like, "Oh damn, how did he find out about it?" And again, Mike has his sources, and I never get into that. But at the end of the day, what he exposes is the truth, and people don't want to hear that. They want to hear the watered down version. They want to hear, "Oh well, I don't know how he found that out," blah blah blah. But they want to duck and dodge and this and that. There's no need for that. It's like, okay, we need to bring a level of respect back to coaching and administration and stuff like that. And honestly, when people get called out like that, they call out the nonsense, and that's exactly what we need.
y'all better stop playing with that boy.
Oh, the alignment's good for football. On second thought, dude, you crapped on it this whole video, man.
Sitting there like I have no clue what I'm doing. Like I was just keeping my hands out of it, and people were just taking shots at her left and right, and it was. I mean, for me, it was.
Dude, he said, "I have no idea what I'm doing." We know that, but what you meant to say was like, "I had nothing to do with this." No, you called out. Here we are, man. We back with another week, man. We in week 7 right now, Rhode Island High School football. It's kind of getting lit right now. We're going to bring in Uncle Felix, Rhode Island ranked. Don't forget, get your stats over there to Rhode Island ranked. Big shout out to everyone that helps us make this possible. Big shout out to Breakthrough Football, Coach Dunbar over there. Breakthrough is about to get going again pretty soon. 14U. I think they're even going to have an 8U team this year. So big shout out to everything that Breakthrough has going on. Mark Wright, Coldwell Bankers, Coastal Homes, 401 Strength and Fitness, Emerson Kilgore joining us every Friday night when we line up and talk to Coach Pennington from the West Warwick Wizards, Coventry Oakers, Westerly Bulldogs, Central Knights, all these different teams. North Smithfield, which speaking of North Smithfield, I think Coach Piva is going to be joining us to talk the coaches pick 'em. What's up, Felix? How we doing?
Not bad, you?
Another day, slow motion better than no motion. How we doing?
All right.
Week 7, here we go, man. I call this run it up weekend. Run up them scores. Them tiebreakers are coming down. I think we're going to see some.
You don't want to leave anything to chance, right?
No, that's right, man. Run up. Last weekend we had a lot of scores. There was 3 tight games from what I believe. Bishop, Hendrick, and LaSalle, and we'll get into that. There was also Charahoe and, if I'm not mistaken, Lincoln was a very that was a tight game, and there was another tight division. Oh, North Smithfield, Coventry was a tight game if I'm not mistaken. So
21-20. Cranston West.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Cranston West playing good football right now. I think people should be worried about Cranston West.
I agree. They're clicking on all cylinders right now. And the scary thing is they're missing 4 starters. So
they are not the same.
I believe that game
absolutely. Marcus Chung, he's not the same player he was. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely not the same they were at the beginning of the season. So what's new for you, Felix?
Nothing, same old stuff. Getting ready for this weekend here. Looking forward to it.
Same old stuff. That absolutely, man. Coach's Pick'em has been going great. You see at the bottom, scrolling across the screen, West Pennington moves into first place. That's been going great with all the coaches, Coach Dunbar, Coach Goodhart, Coach Washington, right now 38-22. Coach Dunbar, Washington, Goodhart, and Ryan McCormick seems to be the consistent front runners. I mean, Ryan McCormick was in the back and he just had a couple good weeks and just came right up from the back. What do you think about so far, coaches pick 'em?
It's awesome so far. I think it keeps everybody interested. It's all in good fun, and it's always cool to see what the coaches think about what's going on in the rest of the league.
And I'll tell you what, you don't realize how hard it is to pick 5 or 6 good games. And I challenge anybody out there. Let's see if you could pick 10 games. And if someone could pick 10 games, you know what? We might even have a giveaway for you. How's that? If you pick all 10 games this week, we're going to give you something.
There you go.
There you go. But yeah, it's going to be great football. We got a lot of games that are going to go on that their overall is basically neck to neck. Either they're 5-1. You got Hope and Situate, two teams that have not picked up a win. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say there will be a winner at the end of that game.
Just because you said that's going to be end in a tie now.
It's going to end in a tie. Yeah, just my luck, Barrington, Portsmouth, 2 teams that are 3-3 right now. Some other teams that are pretty much neck to neck. Lincoln and Middletown right now, 5-1. Johnston Pilgrim, they're both 1-5. Classical Coventry, 3-3. Westerly Woonsocket, 4-2. So a lot of these teams are going into this week that they need this win.
Yes, sir. This is coming down to crunch time now. So all these games are amplified in importance.
And a division that has been insignificant this season has been Division 1 because they all make the playoffs. There's no continuity between each week. You can't get a rhythm going. You got 1 game a week.
It's tough. I mean, that's what happens when you have a 4-team division. It's kind of silly, and we're seeing it now. Why it's silly. And in all honesty, like you said, all 4 teams make the playoffs. That playoff, there's only 1 game that you would have to win on the road because obviously it's just the next game is a Super Bowl, and that's at a neutral field anyway.
Yeah, and that's like whatever. You can't even begin to explain that. So we go right over. So always we're going right to Division 2, which, in all honesty, they should have just played word semantics. I hope we do not have to go through another season of this.
Hopefully they learned their lesson. If they want to, if all these guys are scared to play the 4 top teams, they should do what they did last time and, have the Power 4 where they play in a separate championship game. Yeah, I don't even like that either. I get it because you're trying to make everybody happy. But you know what? Rhode Island, we're the smallest state in the union. People need to stop crying and play football.
No, absolutely. And for amount of coaches that said that they did not want the 4-team alignment, I'll tell you what the vote is. D1, you had 10 voted yes, 3 voted no. D2, 6 voted yes, 4 voted no. D3, 3 yes, 2 no. D4, 6 yes, 1 no, which was 25 in favor, 10 was not in favor of this alignment when he came up. And now you ask all these coaches, oh, no, I did not want that. I was totally against it.
Yeah, they were all against it, but they were for it.
I was totally against it. The only one that went on the record was Coach Washington that said, any scenario, I want to play the best.
And, and that's the way you should feel, to be honest. To be the best, you got to beat the best. You can't be scared. Here, North Kingston, especially this year, they played LaSalle and Hendricken tough. Even Central plays them tough. One of these days, they're bound to get the win. It's gonna happen. You know what I mean? And it'll be all that much sweeter when it does happen.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think right now this is what RIIL needs. They need a city, a public school to win this championship. I think they want a public school to win just to get over this perception that nobody wants to play Hendricken and LaSalle. Nobody wants to play these two programs. So I think the league wants to have a public school finally get over that hump.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
But who the hell am I? Let's see. Let's get into your coaches. I mean, your Rhode Island ranked. We're gonna get into Uncle Felix's top three, and for people that are basically just joining us, Rhode Island ranks over there on Instagram. Why don't you tell everybody how it is you came up with Rhode Island ranked top three and all that while I get everything set up?
Yes, sir. I came up with it during the COVID season, actually, and it was something I was contemplating on doing for a couple of years. I kind of hesitated because I had kids in the system already, so I didn't want people to think, I was going to be biased or whatever. But anyway, I did it anyway, and it's just a page I set up for so kids can go to one location, get the prior week scores, see what's going on in the league, check out some highlights. Then I have some fun with it. I rank basically the top three kids at each position, and it's so far it's been getting a great getting great feedback. I even get some college coaches on there checking it out, and that's what it's all about, getting these kids some exposure, just having some fun with it. And like I said, it's getting good feedback, and as long as it keeps doing that, I'll keep doing it.
You can go over there to Instagram and check it out. Rhode Island ranked. I think he just surpassed 1,500 followers now.
Yes, sir. It seems like it's only been up for, this is the second year. You know what I mean. So it's only been up for a little while, and seems like every week I'll pick up a couple of hundred followers, which is during the season, and that's cool. It lets me know that kids are paying attention and they're liking it. I see they share it all over the place. They send me their highlights. They send me their messages when they're upset too, which is, again, it's all good. It's all love. I like it all because it lets me know at least that they're paying attention. When they finally stop paying attention is when I'll stop doing it.
Absolutely. All right. I think everything's up on the screen, Uncle Felix. If you wanna, let's
Yes,
go
sir.
top quarterbacks.
Top quarterbacks. So there was actually uh, about 5 quarterbacks who played really well this week, and so this was actually kind of tough. I feel, looking at it, I always second guess it sometime, and this is one of those weeks where I'm second guessing that there's somebody I think I left out. But anyways, so we'll go with the top three this week here, and at number one, this number one was a no brainer. It was Maxwell Whiting out of East Providence. He had a monster game, threw for a bunch of yards, couple of long distance touchdowns, also ran for well over 100 yards. And EP Road last week, they put up, I believe, like 47 points. Which reminds me, I ended up seeing them, the whole EP team, and also with Coach Stringfellow. They're actually at the Springfield game. I'm assuming Coach Stringfellow brought them up to the Springfield game so they could watch how the triple option is ran at the college level. And they put on the show. Springfield, I think, rushed for 460 yards on the ground, and they blew out their opponents there. So that was a good game for him to go bring them to. But anyway, so number two, I ended up going with the kid from sophomore sensation from Central Falls. This is his second time, I believe, on this list. He had a great game, very accurate, threw for a couple of touchdowns and led Central Falls to a victory. He also ran for one as well, and that's Shadeen Lavette. Keep an eye on this kid because, again, he's only a sophomore, so we got at least 2 more years of him doing good things, and in my opinion, they're the favorites in Division 4, so he could actually walk away with a ring this year, but we'll see. And then number three, no stranger to the list, one of the top 2 quarterbacks in the state. And after last week, I'm going to give him the edge and say he's number one, and that's Eddie Bueller. He threw 3 more touchdown passes this week. and he's just consistently a beast every week. So those were my top 3 this week.
So Eddie Bueller moves into your number 1 spot of top quarterbacks. Very, very interesting. Very interesting. Well, we're gonna go. Oh shit. Um, that reminded me of the guy from The Wire. Uh, yes, I love The Wire. The Wire was friggin' awesome.
One of the top 5 series of all time.
Absolutely. All right, so we're gonna get into the top running backs.
Yes, sir. Running backs here this week was actually pretty easy, and West Warwick helped out a lot on that. Number 1, no stranger to the list, was DeAndre Chase. I actually spelled his name right because last time I only had 1 capital D, and his mom inboxed me and told me that's a no. There's 2 capital D's in his name, so so I made sure I got it right. He ran for, I believe, 177 yards and a touchdown. As the Wizards ran all over Johnston. He was just a wrecking crew. Number 2, again, not a stranger to this list. There's some superstars on this list, and that's Marcus Chung. He had an all-around game for for Cranston West to help them come up with a huge win over Cumberland. And he was a big part of that. Big game on the ground, big game on special teams, plays well on defense. The kid's all over the place. And number 3, he is a newcomer to the list, but this won't be his last time, I'm sure. And that's James Branch the fourth, and he's in the backfield with DeAndre Chase. Now DeAndre Chase ran for 177. This kid ran for 175. So they put up some monster numbers, and that's a very formidable 2-headed monster they have there in West Warwick, and Division 3's got to watch out for that.
There you go. Some great running backs. DeAndre Chase, definitely. It's going to be interesting. DeAndre Chase and Miles Craddock this week. Moses Brown.
Yeah, 1 and 2.
West Warwick.
You know what I mean? So that's a big game. Both of them putting up huge numbers all year.
Absolutely, and shout out to both them coaching staffs, Coach Vinny over there. And I know they also have line coach Dave Valley, who actually I believe his team just won the semi-pro championship. So shout out to Dave Valley. West Warwick Wizards, I mentioned in a post the other day. Let me get this screen back on for 1 second. I mentioned the other day, and I just want to say big shout out to Coach Pennington. He gave the defensive job to Coach Gabe Vieira, and I don't think I had a chance to say this live yet, and I think that was a good decision. I think Gabe I think he earned the respect to get that job, and Coach Pennington was in a tough spot when he was left high and dry, a day before the season starts. He had no defensive coordinator, and Gabe just picked up the slack, and a lot of people doubted that Gabe could do that job, and I got to say, up till this point, Gabe has been doing a tremendous job with that defense. So big shout out to West Warwick Wizards for that hire. Big shout out to Gabe Vieira, the new defensive coordinator for West Warwick Wizards.
Awesome. 6-0.
Yeah, definitely 6-0. 2 undefeated teams basically coming at each other. The winner of that game is going to win that side of the division and is going to have the number 1 seed, and we're going to know who the number 2 is at that point.
Yes, we will. So huge game coming up. Big playoff implications there.
Absolutely. But we're going to get back into the top 3. I just wanted to give, give Gabe his respect, his props. Okay, top wide receivers. 1 second.
Alrighty, my top receivers this week. As we said earlier, Maxwell Whiting had a huge game, and usually when that happens, you'll find a receiver on the same team in the top 3, and then that's the case here. And that receiver being Yusef Abdullah had a monster game. 2 touchdown catches. Both, I believe, were over 50 yards. Great game by him. He's a first-time person on this list. Number 2, I had to go with, North Kingston's no stranger of putting wide receivers on this list, but I believe this is the first time for this receiver, and that's Evan Beatty, or Ethan Beatty. He played very well. He caught 2 of the touchdown passes from Eddie Bueller. And then number 3, also no stranger to this list, and that's Ethan McCann Carter. Had a big game, 2 touchdown receptions over there at St. Ray's.
Shout out St. Ray's. Ethan getting it done. Dude, unbelievable football player last season. This year, even better.
Yeah, he came on late last year. I noticed, he really didn't really hear much from him early on. I guess you're still figuring things out, but as the season went on, he came on strong last year, and he's picked up right where he left off because he's made this list a couple of times already this year.
He has no problem going up and getting that ball. As a cornerback, as a wide receiver, the boy got some height.
Yeah, that's awesome. You gotta love that, especially if you're a quarterback. You're gonna want to throw to that guy who's gonna make you look good, right?
Absolutely. All right, let me get on.
Which reminds me, Daniel Wolf was another one of those quarterbacks who had a pretty good game and was close to making the list.
Daniel Wolf, very good. He comes from Scituate. He comes from Scituate. Playing, it is what it is over there, and he goes from playing Division 4 at Scituate to St. Ray's, top of the pack. Basically, St. Ray's is one of the teams in Division 2 that have a playoff spot right now. I think Portsmouth would be the other team. How do you think the transition is for
yeah, you're coming from Division 4 and you're moving up 2 divisions like that. The game's got to be a lot faster. I think we can all agree on that. So kudos to him for making the adjustment. But they're young, they're still learning, so I'm sure they can do it quickly.
I'll tell you what, St. Ray's, they should have won back-to-back, and I don't know how many more chances they're gonna have. So they better try. They better get it done.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda. We'll see.
Get her done.
And let's see. So you have my defensive players up there. All right. So again, here there's about 4 or 5 kids that could have made this list easily. These are the 3 I went to, and number 1 was Rashawn Verlaine out of Hendricken. Came up with a huge sack in the game against LaSalle, which is obviously, in my opinion, the game of the week. Who pretty much determined who's gonna walk away with that Division 1. Best record for the end of the season. I went with him. So number 2, I believe I went with Tommy Turner. Had a huge game for the Okers, offensively and defensively. He had a pick 6 on defense. He helped the Okers cruise to a win. And number 3, I went with my man Aiden Murray, or Murhai. I'm not sure how to pronounce that last name. Kid's been a stud all year. Very consistent. He's relentless coming off that defensive line. Has an outside chance of making probably my my final team at the end of the season. We'll see. If he's got to keep it up though. He's one of the big reasons why Cranston West is playing well. He's always putting pressure on that quarterback, which is going to make it easier for those defensive backs.
Cranston West has been playing well. They turned it on, and we'll definitely talk more about that in 1 minute. That should wrap it up for
Yes,
the top 3. Felix, we're gonna give me 1 minute. I'm gonna play this quick video. I told some kids send in some videos. We're gonna stop playing them, and some of these videos are funny. So hang on 1 second. Then we're going to bring Coach Piver in, and we're going to talk a little bit about Coach Pick'em. 1 second.
I left a lot of you guys in that game while we was getting blown out like a Nintendo cartridge, right? Because just like a Jeffrey Dahmer sandwich, I had to take a look inside and see exactly what y'all made of. All right, 1st and 10, right? Take a look at Jacobs. All right, I'm scared. This guy's big, fast, strong. He's probably the leader of his friend group, right? I haven't seen a receiver this athletic since Air Bud, right? I try to get physical with him. All right, but he's stronger than Hennessy mixed with Hypnotic. All right, I give up the catch and the touchdown. All right, let me try to take his hair. It worked for Delilah. All right, 3rd and 8, right? Look at the receiver. He's more open than Will Smith's marriage, right? All right, let's see what happened, right? Of course, Peters, right? The rules of the defense, my coach, common sense, all says I should pick up this receiver. All right, but Frank Sinatra did it his way. Why can't I? Let me go straight for the back like a cool kid getting on the school bus. 75-yard touchdown. All right, 13-3, right? Take a look at Connor. All right, they run a read option. He's definitely giving it to the back. Oh, wow, that was a smooth pullout. He could have helped out in Afghanistan. Right, and take a look at Charles. Slower than water erosion. Right? I don't know how you can't catch him. He's running with his fist closed. All right, touchdown.
Time I pull the plug. The game is over. The game is over. It's time I pull the plug. The game is over. The game is over. It's time I pull the plug.
There we go. I like that video. You know, we different over here. You know, we ain't afraid. Coach Piper, man, what's going on, man? The game is over, they said. What's up, Coach?
How we doing?
Is practice over? Is practice over?
Practice is over. We just walked in.
You guys, you got a rap for us? Can you drop a few bars? You know, not even close. Not even close, man. Coach Piper, man, you've been on the show for what, 2 seasons now. Thank you. I appreciate it. Anytime we want you to come on and talk about the North Smithfield football team, you are all hands on deck. How are the boys doing?
Good. We're in pretty good spirits. Health is coming along. I'd like to get a few guys back, but you know, at this point, it is what it is. I don't think anybody's fully healthy. You know, we're getting ready to go play a game Saturday afternoon in Charahoe.
There you go, Felix. Anything for Coach Piper? I know you're familiar with North Smithfield, being, you know, you coach with Coach Pennington and.
Yeah, Coach Piper was there, I think, my last year there. And,
yeah, we were together.
Like I told you before, I always knew they were going to be in good hands. He does a great job with those kids. The only thing I can say is recruit, right? It's all a numbers game over there.
It is. That's definitely the truth.
Yeah, watch that word, man. That's like you can't say that word.
He can go down the hallways and recruit. That's what I'm talking about.
There you go. No, absolutely.
Maybe pull down a few soccer flyers, hide those flyers, put them up football flyers.
Well, we handed out express flyers to try to get the youth kids playing football instead of soccer. I went to the soccer games on Saturdays and handed out football flyers.
Yeah, good. I mean, hey, you got anything to keep those kids, you know what I mean, coming up, because it's tough. I think you just have a lot of parents right now who are just worried about football, and you know, it's over-exaggerated in my opinion, but what are you going to do?
Yep, I agree. And, you know, it's a nice little learning lesson and a microcosm for these guys to get through high school football, to translate well into what their life is going to be like going forward. So that's kind of how we go about it.
Yep.
Coach, who are you playing this week? You're playing big tough game coming up. Talk about it.
We got Charahoe. You know, they're playing really good football. They jumped up and got Lincoln last week, and you know, they're physical. They like to bring a lot of guys to the football, and you know, it'll be a good test. Hopefully we can play as well as we have been playing. Like, we've been playing good. We just haven't been playing good for all 4 quarters. It's if we were playing half games, we'd be pretty dynamite. But unfortunately, we got to find ways to get through 4 quarters of football.
The report said that Coach Piper blew his top last weekend for the first time. You had a lot of penalty yards. I don't think anybody was too happy after that game. Was you able to tighten it up after this week of practice?
That's always the goal. We looked at everything on film, and you know, every day is an opportunity to get better. I thought I kept my cool pretty good last week. I wasn't the one upset. There was a lot of other
one that said it. I ain't the one that said it.
A lot of other guys were upset.
There you go.
That's coaching for you, man. It ages you. It ages you quick.
Well, you did have close to what 200. There was close to 200 yards and penalties in that game. So I mean, that is enough to send even the calmest coach, Hotburn City.
Yep. And like I tell my guys, if we're gonna make mistakes and we're gonna make penalties, let's do it going 100 miles an hour. Let's do it being aggressive. Let's not doing it because we're lazy. And some of the penalties were because we were lazy and didn't want to move our feet, and that's what you get.
Yeah. Now, how much of that do you think plays into, simply the numbers game with you guys? You know what I mean? You got kids, I'm sure, who are exhausted playing both ways, and like I always said, the reason why it's tough to coach Division 4 is because you can't coach the way you want to coach. You know what I mean? Like you go up in Division 1, it's kind of rare. A few times you'll see kids playing on both sides of the ball, but it's not often. And even when they do, you can sub them out and you'll be okay for a little while, so you can coach that kid. You know what I mean? Like Division 4, you gotta like coach on the run. You know what I mean? Like kids are in there, they're screwing up, but next thing you know, the ball's you're on defense, and guess what? That kid just has to turn around and play another position. You can't even really coach him to what he did wrong until Monday. And the game's already over.
And that's our biggest hurdle, right? Is we're trying to coach to that style. And if we were in Division 4, we'd be on.
Oh, that's right. Freudian slip. You should
across from us, but we're in Division 3,
which makes it even tougher.
And we're playing with, I don't know, if 15 kids get on the field, that's a lot for us.
Wow.
Right? Like we really play, and that includes the specials. Like we call punt unit, and one kid runs out onto the field, and one kid runs off. We have to make a substitution for a defensive tackle, and it's usually a defensive back goes in, a linebacker gets moved to end, and end gets kicked down inside. So to make one substitution, we have to move like 4 guys around.
Yeah.
But it is what it is, and we have to coach the hand we're dealt.
Yeah, exactly. You got to play the cards you dealt. Exactly.
And you're in a tough division. We have 8 teams that drop down, and all 8 teams.
It's funny because like we always say, it was a crime for Ponteganza to be in Division 4, and now this year it's a crime for you guys to be in Division 3. And obviously, you know what I'm saying. It's not an insult or anything, but it's just the numbers. I mean, that's 15 guys to play, 60 minutes of football. That's tough.
And it's 2 years in a row where it's been the same for us. And if you watch us play, and we're super, super competitive. We've got some pretty good out there, and we're hanging in there for a long time. It's just that once the wheels fall off, and we can go from being up by a score or down by a score to being down 2 or 3 scores in a 2 or 3 minute span. We've done it to ourselves a couple of times this year. And it's just there's no way to stop that from happening.
Absolutely.
I mean, we'll see. Hopefully, do you know when they're due again for another realignment?
Yeah.
Are they going to look at it this coming year, or?
I don't really pay much attention to it. I kind of wait to see, let them tell me where I'm playing, and that's go.
I hear you.
I think it's scheduled for next season, but they need to.
None of my lobby.
Not for North Smithfield's sake, but at least to change that D1 format. That's just like. That's crazy. I can't go to another season of D1 being that lackluster. But Coach, man, I wanted to bring you on to talk about your picks this week. Do you know your picks off the top of your head, or I could tell you?
I prepared for you, Mikey. I actually wrote them down before I got on the phone. I got them right here.
There you go. And right now you're sitting at 36-24, 4 games behind Coach Penn. Coach Penn, he had a good week. He's sitting at 40-20 right now. Let me bring up the picks right here.
Yeah, I've tried to try to gain some games on some guys over the last few weeks, and it hasn't worked out for me.
It's tough, and me and Felix was just talking about that. And I put a challenge out there today that we'll have a giveaway if we can get someone to go 10-0 this week. So
Yeah.
let's go. Let's talk about it.
It's funny because I know every time I make my picks, I go, "There's a 10-0 week," and I always look at 6-4.
Yeah. Yep.
It's tough. It's tough, man. And there's some games that are toss-ups, you know. And I always try to go down a list.
It's pretty cool. It shows you there's parity in the league. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
There have been
it's actually a good thing that we can't pick them every time.
No, and it's probably good, and I hope people are paying it. That shows, you know, it's working. You know, like you can't. It's tough to pick. We had 1 week where guys, the first week we had Gary Goodhart went 10-0, excellent week, and then he went like 8-2. But after that, we had a lot of 6-4, 5-5, 7-3 consistently.
Yeah.
Yep. Both teams practice, right?
Absolutely. You know, so all right, Coach Piver, let's talk about it. Lincoln and Middletown. Who you got?
I'm taking Middletown.
Yeah, Middletown playing good football. I'm sure we can all agree on that. Lincoln, tough game against Charahoe last week.
Like every team we've played this year, their scout film has been Middletown for us. So we've seen a lot of Middletown, and Middletown to me on film looks like it's the best team on our side of the division.
And Felix, you have let me see if I got your picks in front of me. Do you remember who you took, Felix?
I believe I took Middletown as well.
There you go. Everyone's, you know, on that Middletown. Classical Coventry. This game right here. Let's talk about it. Classical needs this for the win. Coventry needs to beat Classical and Tolman to get into the playoffs. And I was doing a poll the other day, and I don't think the community thinks Coventry can pull that off. Can Coventry beat Classical, Coach?
They can. They absolutely can. Coventry's well coached. They're pretty good up front. If they can catch a break here and there in that game, I think they can beat them. I picked Classical. My personal philosophy is a lot of times when you're picking a toss-up game that could go either way, I'm going to go with the best freak athlete on the field, and the kid, the halfback for Classical, Duke is a freak running back. We couldn't tackle him to save our lives. He killed us single-handedly, so I'm going with Classical.
Everyone says that about the Duke, and I know his brother plays basketball, for a tremendous basketball player. Felix, what are your thoughts about Coventry Classical? For one, can Coventry go 2-0 to make it into the playoffs? And two, are they going to be Classical?
Can they? They can. Will they? I'm going to say no. I like Classical in this game. Their quarterback is actually getting better and better as the season goes along. He had a big game last week, threw for almost 300 yards, a couple of touchdowns, also ran one in. So it seems like he's settling in and getting more comfortable, because I believe their starting quarterback was that kid Dennis. Can't think of his last name. From last year. So this is a new quarterback.
Jalen Dennis.
Yeah, Jalen Dennis. And so he's gone. So this is a new quarterback. It looks like he's finally settling in. And, you know, as Coach Piva said there, they have a very good running back. So if the quarterback's, you know, putting it together and the run game's there, they're going to be dangerous. And it shows, because the last couple of games, I believe, they've been putting up some points.
Absolutely. You know, Classical right now sitting at 3-2. They have 159 offensive points, which makes them number 2 in the division by offensive scoring. So they definitely can put up points. Here's where they can finish. They could either go 5-2.
I'm looking at their numbers. The last 3 games, they've put up 31 points, 41, and 35.
Yep.
Yeah, so they could score points. So their options right now is 5-2 gets them in, 4-3, and 3-5. I think a lot of teams might end that, you know, it might be a tie for a lot of these teams, go to tiebreakers, but that's Classical. Coventry is 2-3 right now, you know, and they have a game Classical and then versus Tolman. So their option is what? 4-3, 3-4, and 2-5 is not going to get you in. So Coventry needs these 2 games.
I'm pretty sure both teams hold the power of their season in their hands. If either team goes and wins out, they'll get the spot.
Yeah. Coventry's obviously got the tougher schedule because they have Tolman. They have obviously Classical.
Yeah.
At Tolman, which they should win that game. And then they also play West Warwick, who's obviously playing hot right now.
Yeah, and that's the Thanksgiving Day game.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. The next game going to be a division.
Counting Thanksgiving Day games this year on their
Who's that?
Anybody? Are they counting Thanksgiving games?
No. They don't. The league don't want to do that. That ain't. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, Hendrick. This one's a Division 1 game. Hendricken and Central.
I took Hendricken until you beat him, you got to pick him, right? So, I think I've tried to pick against them a couple times this year, and I've gotten bit in the butt. I'm not doing it again. I took Hendricken this week.
And every win matters. We're getting down to the nitty gritty. Every win matters. Felix, man, surprise us. Did you go with little cousin, or did you go with big brother?
Gotta go with big brother here. I mean, like Coach Fiver says, how can you pick against them? They all they do is win over there, and I don't see anything different this year. Central, it's a tough. There's only 4 teams. Unfortunately for them, I think they're the 4th team in that division. But hey, they got something to prove. Coming off that. They lost to Westerly. That was a couple of weeks ago, but I'm sure that's still bitter in their thing. Last year, they did play Hendricken tough. It was actually a 1-point game. Not a 1-point game, 1-score game. And they were winning that game until the last, I believe, 12 seconds of that game.
Mm-hmm.
So anything could happen. But I always like to remind people, not taking any away from Central, but Hendricken did not step on the practice field for 10 days straight. And then played that game, which is, in my opinion, why it was so close. So we'll see what happens this year. But
that's the big excuse, huh?
That
is going to be a good game. It's going to be at Mount Pleasant. It's going to be at Central. It's going to be dark out night. And check it out. I'll let everybody know. Go to the concession stand. They're going to have a raffle for, I think it's a beautiful 50-inch television. So go get them raffle tickets. I think I'm gonna cop a couple raffle tickets, but I think they're like $5 or I don't know how much they are, but go get some of them raffle tickets and support Central. They need another set of uniforms. Shout out to my guy Mike. He's gonna be like, you're an asshole, man. Excuse my French. I told you I'm not a role model, man. I'm a good guy. I'm just not a role model. Moses Brown, West Warwick, I got to say, Coach Pive has been saying since the beginning of the season. Say it, Coach.
West Warwick's my pick to not only win this game, but to probably be lifting the trophy at the end. I picked them after one scrimmage at the beginning of the season. I know the teams that we've had success with in the past, and I know what he's got over there right now and how he's going to coach them, and they will be a tough out. They're going to be a tough team to deal with, and West Warwick to win this one is my pick.
Ooh. Felix, man, what are you going to do? What are you thinking, man? Are you a cracker or are you a wizard?
I got to go with the Wizards here. And a big reason is the emergence of James Branch there. I mean, that kid's an athlete. You could see it last year. I believe he's only a sophomore right now.
Yes.
That kid's going to be scary. And the thing, like I've been saying every week, they're a very deep team. There's a lot of kids that they can lean on there. Yeah. Not just like last year, it was mostly DeAndre Chase who carried that team because he had to. But now you're seeing the emergence of like a Branch. You see the Swanson kid. He's a he's a decent to good receiver. Brady seems to get more comfortable, every week. Defensively, you got the middle linebacker there, Isaac, who's a stud. You got Josh Pettis coming off the. I mean, the Pettis and Chase combination at the ends, that no quarterback in Division 3 is going to have much time to throw the ball there, and Branch lurks around at the playing safety. So defensively they're going to be tough, and offensively they got a two-headed monster right now, and they throw just good enough to keep you, so you can't really sit on that run all day.
Now, who broke it down like Felix just did? You know what I'm saying? No, absolutely. I think West Warwick has some great athletes over there, skill positions. I think them and Charahoe have probably the best set of skills. It's going to be a great game. I expect it to be a lot of runs. We're going to see, if you like a run game, probably a mix-up, because Coach Penn can do it also. That's going to be a great game. Check that game out. Get out there to West Warwick Stadium. If you got to watch it, check it out on the West Warwick High School YouTube page. They call by far the best. I'm just amazed how good of a job they do when they call a game. They just break it down on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, it's a good production.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
They do. That's awesome.
Absolutely. All right, let's get to the next one. Barrington and Portsmouth. I'll tell you what, this game right here, a lot of teams need Portsmouth to help them out right now. They need Barrington to fall. What do you think? Is Barrington going to beat Portsmouth?
Oh, if they need it to happen, they're going to be happy, because I see Portsmouth. I think Portsmouth will beat Barrington.
I got Portsmouth as well.
Portsmouth had one hell of a game against Woonsocket last week. Would they win 28-0, and I don't think anybody's seen that coming.
I'm telling you, listen, I saw Portsmouth live when they played Hendricken. I was very impressed. That's a very tough team. They're gonna be a tough out all year.
Portsmouth,
absolutely.
Program for a long time. Really.
They're very well coached. I was a little worried about them at the beginning of the season, because I know they lost a ton of talent. But kudos to their coaching staff.
Yep.
Because they're doing a great job over there.
Yep, no question.
I'll tell you what, Portsmouth right now sitting at 3-1 in the division. They put up 94 points on the year. They allowed 91. They have Barrington and Cranston East coming in. I see Portsmouth finishing the season out 5-1 and taking the number 1 seed in Division 2.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me one bit.
Yeah. Who do they have left on their schedule?
They have Barrington and Cranston East.
Yeah. Yeah, if they can pull the victory off Barrington. East obviously has been struggling all year.
Absolutely. You look at Division 2, you got Portsmouth, then you got Woonsocket in second place at 3-1. Woonsocket has Westerly, then a game at Barrington. And it's a must win. Woonsocket, I think they have to win. I know Westerly has to win this game, and then Woonsocket is going to have Barrington the following week. So a lot of teams are going to need help.
Yep, that's what makes it great. We're coming down to the end here, so all these games are just amplified.
And we basically know where SK is going to land right now. They're 3-2, I think, right now, and they have LaSalle coming up this week. So that game, you really don't have to worry about that. And then you have a game at Westerly, which is a tough environment.
SK is one of those teams, they kill me every week. If I pick them, they lose. If I don't pick them, they win. They make no sense.
Yep.
Nobody's seen that shit coming at Shea. Nobody except for Dino Camp.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on over there. It's inconsistent, though.
I actually had a screen grab of let me see. It talked about that game. Oh yeah, here it is. They said that so SK kicks off to Shea. Shea muffs it, right? They fumble it, pick it up, we recover. Then I guess there was some type of whistle and they make SK re-kick, and sometimes one play could screw a whole game Oh. So Cranston West and Mount Pleasant, coach.
Oof. This was one that I was going back and forth. I went with Cranston West. I jumped on the bandwagon. I that could be a shootout. Like this could be 52-45 by the time they're done.
It could be.
That this was one of those coin toss games. I went with Cranston West, thinking they just might be a little bit more solid and disciplined, and that could be the difference in this game. But like I said, this was a toss-up game.
Yeah, I got Cranston West as well. They're playing really well as of late. And if they get everybody back, like I said, they had 4 starters out last week. So especially if they get everybody back, they should win that game.
And I'll tell you what, Cranston West right now, 3-1. They versus Mount Pleasant and at EG. So even if they split it, the best they're gonna finish is what, 4-2, and I think that will be good enough to get them into the playoffs.
Yeah, no, they in my opinion, they should go 2-0 here.
All right, Rogers and Narragansett.
Rogers is playing good football. Narragansett's starting to figure it out too. This is another tough pick. But I'm going to go with the hot hand in Rogers, I think.
Yeah, what is it? Coach Newhouse, is that his name? Shout out to him.
I agree with Jeff here. I also went with Rogers. Narragansett is figuring out. Then they took a step back, I believe. So we'll see. But Rogers is playing well.
Absolutely, Rogers playing good football. Shea and Cranston East. Ooh, this one's gonna be a salty one.
Well, Cranston East has been, they've been struggling all year. They had that one really good game where they surprised me and only lost to Barrington by 3 points. They put up like 30-something points. If it was, I was like, where did
that's
that
crazy because they only put up 97 on the season.
Yeah, so a third of that was in that. but they're struggling. I can't see Shea losing this game.
Definitely.
Me either. I took Shea.
Allowing 230 points, and Cranston East has at Shea and a game at Portsmouth coming up. Shea right now is sitting at 2-3, and they have, and all they have is East left. So the best Shea can do is 3-3. So Pilgrim and Johnston. Pilgrim, I said, and I've been saying it. I don't care what their record is. Anytime you face Pilgrim, it's one of them kind of, you don't go into it. It's a game of war. It's war. Anytime you play Pilgrim.
Yeah,
Pilgrim's a tough team no matter when you play them, regardless of what their record is.
They've been playing tough, but they've been losing.
Absolutely.
And hold on, I just lost my place here where I was looking at.
Their losing ways end this week. They will beat Johnston.
Yes, they should definitely beat Johnston. Johnston has that one win. It was a crazy one. They came from way behind to pull off the upset win. But that won't help them. I mean, I was watching the West Warwick Johnston game, and Johnston they need help over there.
And the final game on the coaches pick'em is PCD, which I thought that game last week with PCD and EWG was going to be a lot more competitive. I thought PCD, that was their red letter game or blue letter game, however you say it. And they played North Providence this year, and North Providence started this year and ended this year just like they have in years past.
This game is thoroughly confusing to me. I thought, because we played Juanita in the injury fund game, and I thought they had some pieces. I thought they played pretty good. I don't know how they managed last week's result, but it threw me for a loop. So this is probably going to be where Felix and I differ. I'm going to go with North Providence this week.
Yeah, I went with PCD. PCD also screwed me up last week too, though.
I can't figure them out.
Yeah, so and they're funny that way. But same North Providence, same way, because they actually have some decent players there. I think that their record should be better than what it is. I don't know exactly what's going on there, but PCD is at home, so I'm going with PCD, but I'm not confident.
You know, PCD, they share a 2-mile area with Central. You know, they pull some pretty decent kids, and I'm not sure what's going on over there as well, but that whole Division 4.
I got to start showing them more love. I got an inbox from a kid from PCD. He says, how come we don't never get any love on your page?
That's it. You know what I mean? Get them stats up. All right, Coach Piver, man, thank you. I really appreciate it.
No worries.
All right, North Smithfield, get out there, check their game out this
Saturday
week.
afternoon.
That's right, and we'll talk to Coach Piver after that game.
Yes, sir. Good luck, Coach.
All right, thanks, guys. Have a good weekend.
You too.
You
bye.
as well. You know, that was pretty awesome. You know, Felix, let me check. Hang on 1 second. Just had to check this. Oh, here we go. We had a message. Lost quarterback, wide receiver, cornerback, running back, bench, literally playing with twos. Oh, wow. That must be PCD. So now we kind of know what's going on. They lost a quarterback, wide receiver, cornerback, running back is bench, literally playing with the 2 squad. So that explains it because they definitely.
I'm going to have to change my pick then.
Who is it on? Coach? Is it Coach Jamal over there? Is it Jamal that's coaching over there? Last I knew it was the Nado.
Yeah, I'm not sure, to be honest with you.
You know, Felix, this week I was going back and forth all week. You know, I see something on Channel 10 during the Hendricken and LaSalle game. And I kind of went back and forth all week, you know. Should I talk about this? This is kind of an important thing to me. You know, it has a lot to do with sportsmanship and something that we've been lacking in Rhode Island lately. And it's also a kid that I've been championing for the last couple of seasons. I'm gonna play the clip real quick. Give me 1 second. I'll play the clip in a second. But what I did notice is last season Mount Pleasant did the same thing, and I called Mount Pleasant out pretty hard for it. Coach Addison, you know, the kids over there.
I'm gonna, and I know I voiced my opinion to you earlier. I'm fine with calling out coaches, and you know what I mean, and obviously professionals and all that stuff. I don't think it's a good idea to call out a kid. You know, the kid was wrong. He should be reprimanded for it.
Absolutely. I think we should put
pressure on his coaches to do something about it. I don't agree. It's your show, obviously. You can do, you know, whatever you want. I don't agree with showing the clip either, just because of the bad press for the kid. So it's your call, whatever you want to do.
No, man, I wasn't even gonna go down that. The thing I'm getting at is overall sportsmanship throughout the league. If it was other programs, it's a whole different thing. It's okay to call out a team from Central, or it's okay if this happened.
I don't know if I agree with that either.
At Mount Pleasant, like we've seen it this season.
But if I don't care if it was, let's say it was Hendricken, if they went out there and did something foolish, I disagree. I think it'd be amplified more because that's a school, you know, that everybody has their eyes on. Everybody's looking for them to fail. So I disagree because if it was another school, I think they would be called out probably even more. I think the way the climate is today, especially throughout the country, these inner city schools actually getting a pass because nobody wants to call them out because everybody's scared they're going to be called racist or something like that. But so I don't agree with that take. I mean that's your opinion. Obviously,
I
you're
mean,
entitled,
yeah, I mean,
and then
things like this, and it has nothing to do with the who's. It has to do with just what's going on now with the inner city schools, the funding. It just adds up to some are able to get away with certain things and
well,
some
we
are
can. I
not.
mean, I don't want to drift off into
You
politics.
kind of got me off the whole way that I was going here. I was kind of going
Yeah.
down overall sportsmanship at different schools where it's okay at certain places and other places people are held accountable, or other kids are maybe posting things on Facebook and getting suspended for doing that, and other things are doing on field activities. It's more going down the line of sportsmanship, and it's definitely like when Mount Pleasant got into their altercation, people were saying they should be arrested. You know what I mean? Someone should actually contact the police if they put hands on someone else. And then, but you have sometimes private schools are looked at a different way. And I know you're a little biased because of your Hendricken connection, but we definitely look at Central. I think if that happened at Central, I think they would be wanting the kid suspended at least. I don't want the kid suspended. I don't even want to mention the kid.
I disagree, to be honest with you, and this is why the incident that happened at Mount Pleasant, that was almost, you had so many people involved, correct? Right? There was almost a little riot, pretty much. The incident with at the LaSalle Hendricken game, it was actually that one incident, and it died right after that.
Right? Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm saying if that carried on, let's say the coaches got involved and things like, and it became a bigger incident, yeah, then it would be a bigger topic.
Absolutely.
Because,
but do we need to do more now to prevent these types of things? And that's is why I think it's important to talk about this now.
I do think it's important, and I do, and I'm glad you brought it up. But I think what we should be advocating for is for that coach to handle that in himself. You know what I mean? I don't think there's any need to, because at the end of the day, these are kids. You know what I mean? They're emotional. They don't know how to handle their feelings as good as they should, and all that stuff. And I don't believe dumping on kids from any school. So I think what we should do is, I would say that school or that coach needs to do something about it. And, I'm assuming he knows about it. If we're talking about it, that video has made its rounds.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely, definitely.
I'm sure he knows about it. And I'll tell you what, and if that kid plays this week, which I don't know if he is or isn't, I'll be very disappointed.
I think I'm just getting at the overall, like, around the league of sportsmanship. I wish you before you interrupted me earlier, I wish you kind of let me just get to my point earlier, but because we're having problems with officials, we're having problems keeping the sportsmanship has been pretty tough around the league, and even the end of the game, these handshakes, and I mean, it ain't gonna hurt. This was on Channel 10 News. I mean, it's not like anyone showing the video is gonna. This was on, Channel 10 News, WJ. It's still on Channel 10 News. But I think we have to talk about these things no matter what, and we can't treat anyone any differently. Any situation, I think these are important things to talk about because sometimes these things can get out of control quickly.
Yep, no, totally agree. It should be talked about. Like I said, it should be handled. Like I said, I to me it doesn't matter where the kid plays or where he's from. I would never call out a kid.
And I wasn't, nor was I calling out a kid. I have never called out a kid at all.
Yeah, I'm not implying that you were. I'm just saying the way I would handle it.
No, yeah, I totally get that, but no, I mean, and nobody's calling anybody out. I mean, everybody's seen the video. It's no secret, but the situation needs to be addressed. It needs to be talked about. I mean, I'm sure Coach Marcone is probably handling the situation, but
We'll,
regardless of,
we'll, we'll find out if he did or not, right? Because we'll
yeah,
see.
regardless of who the player was,
We'll,
no matter of what happened, it should have never happened, and we need to prevent these things before they happen again in the future, and we need to hold everybody on, accountable. And I'm
Yep.
not saying that this kid in this situation, this just happened, so this is why it's being talked about
Well,
now.
we'll know in less than 24 hours if Coach Marcone is a man of integrity.
Oh, see, I wasn't even gonna go there, because I think we might already know. But yeah, we just need to do more on sportsmanship. We need to do more to have conversations with these kids and tell them when we're going through these lines, there can't be none of that. There can't be no disrespecting the opposing team's coach. That's another thing that's being overlooked.
Yep.
No matter if it was done or not, you should not even say any ill words to an opposing team's
Mm-hmm.
coach.
And here's something, I guess we can't be surprised since the RIL's been dropping the ball all year, right? So we can't really be surprised. Now, obviously, I think we talked about it. I don't know if it was on this show or whenever we talked about it. There was an incident at Hendricken where a kid was suspended for a year, right? And he was a senior, and that incident compared to this, not even close. You know what I mean? And that was a big thing where that kid wasn't able to play for the rest of the season.
Well,
Now,
bro, wasn't someone just suspended for making a video saying the N word from LaSalle on his own time?
I believe so. I don't know too much about that, but so here's one. Obviously, like you said, it's on Channel 10, so everybody has seen it, and I haven't heard. Maybe something is going on in house or in the background. We don't know. Like I said, we'll find out tomorrow at 7, and we'll know if anybody said anything, because I haven't heard anything from the RIIL, and I haven't heard. I'm sure LaSalle wouldn't announce, "Hey, we're benching our player." I'm sure they wouldn't announce it, but we'll find out tomorrow when we tune in and see that game.
And again, and I didn't want to bring this up but I had to bring this up to talk about it because I think it's an important topic because these things should not go on. You know what I mean? And we just need to do a lot better for sportsmanship. When that game is over, we need to look at each other and be able to shake hands.
Yeah.
NASCAR, all them guys, they get out the game, they shake it off, they shake hands. You look at battle rap. Like, I don't know how a lot of these guys can after they're done.
I could never do that because I wouldn't be able to sit there and take all that. That's just me.
But they're making real good. They're making more than industry artists are now. They're getting $50,000-$60,000.
It's become a big thing. Good for them.
It's becoming a very big thing. But when they're done, they're all friends afterwards, and they shake hands. And I was like, "You just said some disrespectful shit, bro."
Yeah.
But hopefully we can get through this, and hopefully we can learn from this. But yeah, a lot of great football to go on, Felix. I'm glad we was able to cover this. Another topic I want to look into. I read a big article, and it was right over the line in Connecticut, and it talked about the bigger the income in the area, the more championships that program has won, and it went all the way down the line. And the less money that a neighborhood made, the less championships that these programs have had, and I found it very interesting, and we kind of see that I think here too in Rhode Island how there's an uneven playing field because rich towns are dominating high school sports.
Do they? I mean,
I mean,
It's
I got a couple graphics I can show you.
the private school is obviously not a town; it's a private school.
And they even
So,
excluded a lot of the
so
private
okay,
schools.
so if we exclude the private, and I don't even know if this is true or not. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. Like, so who won it last year? Let's say Division 4. It was Pontiac, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I'm assuming that's not a highly income area.
Well, Situate. I mean, you $300,000 homes out there. I mean, you got some. I mean, Situate is no cheap place.
Yeah, but who else is in that Division 2? Like, I don't even know.
You got EWG.
Oh, EW. There you go. That's a very or EG. EG is loaded with money. They're not winning anything.
Yeah, they have some money, but they was in a Super Bowl. Hey, EWG, you know, they were the first. They were the only 6 seed to make it.
And here's another thing. Like, you look at the schools. If you believe it or not, the inner city schools actually get more funding than anybody. So like the school that gets the most funding in Rhode Island is actually Central Falls. So it's not a money issue. I would say. A lot of it, unfortunately, in the inner cities, what you do see is kids not being eligible to play. But that goes with the whole school system and things like that. But funding I don't think is would be an issue. 'Cause I think Barrington might be the number one performing school academic wise.
But if you look at some of these, you talk about the inner city schools getting funded, but they're I think they're given a lot of unfair criteria where you have to racially balance the enrollment. And for a school like Central or Hope, it's hard to racially balance the enrollment. And if they don't meet the criteria,
no, but they get funding. Like if you look it up, you'll see. For example, Central Falls gets the most money per student.
Oh, yeah, I could only imagine.
It's close.
Oh, that article, it was right over the Connecticut state line. It says Darien is Connecticut's richest town by household income, and it's also most successful in terms of high school sports championships with 47 over the past decade across 15 sports. And it goes down the list, and it says Hartford, Connecticut, whose household income is $35,000. The state's poorest city won 7 championships over the same 10-year period. And it goes down the list from the wealthiest towns, how many championships, to the poorest towns, and how many championships. And it talks about not having the right equipment, not having the right gear. So that was very.
I can't speak to what's on in Connecticut. Like, I don't know.
Well, I didn't really know them kind of data in Rhode Island, really.
In Rhode Island, though, like I just don't see the correlation, because again, Central Falls is by far the most funded most funded school per student. So that kind of kills the argument.
Well, Felix, another one of these things done. Another Thursday night tomorrow. What are you going to? Any games this weekend?
Well, Saturday I will not be, because I will be in Springfield watching college football. Tomorrow, I've been looking at a few games here. I am not sure yet. We'll see how the weather is too, because I'll tell you that NFHS package is pretty cool. I can sit here and watch all the games.
Between the NFHS and last weekend, look, I'll put it up. This was my screen. I was watching 6 games at the same time. True fans only. The only thing about NFHS is you can only watch one game.
And for whatever reason, whenever they do the Lincoln game, there's never a score. You know what I mean? So it's kind of pointless. You don't even know what's going on.
Is that the worst? Like, I hate watching an NFHS game with no score. The Central Burrville game, I was like, this sucks. I don't even know what the friggin' score is.
There's a lot of good games It's Friday night. It's that Lincoln Middletown, both are 5-1. Obviously, Moses Brown, West Warwick, both 6-0. So I'll probably pull that game up. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, there's gonna be some
And then Henry Central should be interesting.
Yeah, even the I think the Woonsocket Westerly game's gonna be another good. Hope Situate, we're gonna have a winner.
Somebody's got to win that game.
That game's gonna end in a tie, from what Felix said.
0-0 tie.
That game's gonna end in a tie. And again, I want to say rest in peace to Christopher DiPaolo. Chris DiPaolo had a dream to have a radio station at 16 years old. He had a radio station in his grandmother's basement. He figured out how to get the most wattage in a mile area, and he developed his own radio station in Westerly, WBLQ. He owns the Coventry radio station. Well, he passed away this weekend of I think it was a heart attack, so rest in peace to Chris DiPaolo, 49 years old. So yeah, I wanted to say rest in peace to him and my condolences to his family.
Yes, sir.
49, too young. Too young. I read an article that said, we'll give your wife and family a house up to $300,000 paid off and everything, but the very next day you must expire. Would you sign the papers? And I said, where do I sign?
Oh, man.
I wouldn't even have to think about it, bro. Like, to know that my family would be taken care of, would have a home, wouldn't have to worry about it. Like, I was like, where do I sign?
Yeah, you'd have to give me a little more than that. That'd be a downgrade for my family.
Well, I mean,
they would be upset.
Just to know, I think it was more the satisfaction of knowing that they're going to live comfortably.
So if somebody said, Felix, we're going to kill you tomorrow, but we'll give your family whatever amount of money where they'll be all set, would I do it? No.
I said expire. You said like kill you, man. At least I put it a little better, I just think to have that gap. Well, I mean, you know what? Well, I mean, our lifestyle is a lot different. Like, I struggle every day. I live day to day, like paycheck to paycheck. So it's like when I'm like dreading calling the oil man. We have no oil. Like trust me. Like, if they
so what would you do up there? You take the deal. You're sitting up there in heaven. You look down. 6 months later, you see the wife out with a nice 25-year-old man spending the money.
You know what? At least she has a place to live. My kids have a place. My grandkids have a place. I mean, it is what it is. But just knowing that my family, I guess it goes by someone's struggles, and I would think my struggles, absolutely. I sign. Where do I sign? Where do I sign? Absolutely. Not that I want to go anywhere. I'm not wishing, but I was thinking comfortability, knowing.
It's a cool question to ask. I like that.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, and I really think like you wouldn't even have to I wouldn't even have to think about it. You know what I mean? Just to know my family would be comfortable, and that's a good thing to end the show. What would you do for your family? You know what I mean? Would you do it? Would it be comfortability, knowing that they'll be good for the rest, for the rest of their life, but until then, we'll watch some football and enjoy things. But Felix, man, thank you again. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And always. Any last words?
That's it. Stay safe and God bless.
As well, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
All right, so there we have it. That was a decent show. Again, I wish he would have let me get to my point. Kind of throwing me off, thinking I was gonna go a different direction. But yeah, sportsmanship. We have to do more to point out sportsmanship. But all right, check it out.
I don't know what you want me to tell that. Everybody's like, football's a team game. Okay, it's not a team game. Okay, I did my part. All right, I put in a great game plan. I mean, these players, they're horrible. My players are no good. I mean, everybody's like, no excuses. I got 22 excuses. 11 on my offense and 11 on my defense. Our offensive coordinator is terrible. He gets half of his plays off of Madden rookie mode. I mean, the guy is no good. Do we have a chance next week? No, we don't. We're 0-8. We're not good at football. Red zone defense is like Oprah. Like, you get a touchdown, you get a touchdown, you get a touchdown.
Hey, Coach, is there anything you want to change?
I don't know what you want me to tell that. Everybody.
They didn't sugarcoat us. They just said what it was. In this new generations, we can't truly be like our coaches was because y'all can't handle it. Because y'all a little softer. Y'all was raised a little different. Y'all was coddled a little more. In this day and age, you can't say certain things to certain people, to certain ethnicities, to certain social climates. You can't say certain things or you'll be scolded or you'll be blackballed or you'll be pretty much written off. Because once upon a time, a coach would look you in the eye and say, you know darn well you ain't going pro, and you sitting around here ain't doing no schoolwork. The only way you got the opportunity to make it in life is to get an education what could possibly get you a career, not a job. We can't say that. Because if we said that, you're sensitive. Some of you might be in here recording, or you're going to go tell somebody, and now we're going to catch hell in high water for telling you the darn truth. That's what bothers me.
Put together by LaSalle, mixed in Lassiter, Brecchioni. They get down, they're knocking on the door, they're inside the 10. They just... You got the skills and knowledge, just how we keep it real. If you got the skills and knowledge, this is how we keep it real.
Beginning of the game. Talk about it, Stanley.
At the end of the day, man,
this is not Clown Town anymore.
And one of the best games all year.
Yo, it was great. We actually practiced that. Federal. Switchy brand. Let's go. Come take a ride through my city life.
You know, it's going to be, you're in a hole now. It's going to be hard to dig out of that hole. You know,
life. This is city living, mostly them city children. From my bedroom, see the lights of them city buildings. Ain't gotta act hard, private's my backyard. I run Rodale, you can call me a track star. And we a team, homie, all is one. I don't sleep until all is done. I ain't ruckus, so please don't call me Mr. 401. It's Mr. Rags, you can call me, I'm still in that 401. From where we was, look at all this come. For what it's worth, I put my all in the sun. Know that my city love it. I give about my city's budget, about my city's public, know how my city does
West Elmwood Intruders. There's a lot of guys that deserve opportunities, but for some reason the city is fumbling. They're fumbling. They're really fumbling. I mean, we can get into it, Mike. You know the story. I was at Juanita Sanchez.
I have to thank, Coach Dino Campopiano and his staff over at Shea.
If you come out freshman year, man, I told one thing I was.
And it's our business to keep up with this.
Absolutely be the fakest motherfucker you ever thought you could be and just lie your way all the way through. And if long as you believe your lies, which is most of the industry these days, then you can last this long.
I love what Mikey does. Sometimes I'm like, yo, you over the edge, TMZ with it. But
the boy gonna do you something nasty.
I hate to say it, more times than not, he get the results he want.
Right, and to be honest with you, I honestly don't think it's over. Honestly, I think exactly what this state needs. We've always needed a platform where we can call out the nonsense,
the repercussions,
and give people the props that they deserve, and call out the people who are full of it. And honestly, I think that more and more people are starting to utilize Mike's platform for that. And honestly, I know a lot of folks. A lot of people talk to me, "Oh, Emerson, like you're on there and you talk this and you talk that," and I'm like, "Listen," I said, name one thing that he's been wrong about. And then there's silence.
But boy,
right?
Because they know. Because honestly, like that stuff that's being exposed, they're like, oh damn, how did he find out about it? And again, you know, he